Hello, Virgo, and welcome to your tarot card reading for May 2024. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jane, and in these readings we really go through a tarot card prediction and astrology prediction. I really try my hardest to link these two together to give you the most accurate predictions that you can possibly get here on YouTube. So we are going to go ahead and get right into this. If you are interested in a private reading, I've made some changes to my offering, and as of May 1st, those will be made available on my website for booking. So if you're interested, the links can be found in the description box and the pinned comment down below. So be sure to keep your eyes open for that. I'm very excited to be connecting with all of your energy this month. It's a very exciting month as we have Jupiter coming into Gemini at the end of May. We have Taurus season. We have Venus and Mars in rulership. We have really wonderful things happening in the sky that are going to help push us forward. So with that being said, you're welcome to check out your sun, moon, or rising sign. If you're brand spanking new and you have no idea, just check out your sun sign. That's fine. And if you're kind of exploring, please check out all three of those signs to see which one resonates with you the most. Some readers will resonate with different placements. So if you resonate more with your sun or rising with me, then that would be who you would watch with me. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Thank you all again. You guys know I love and appreciate each and every one of you for being here. So let's go ahead and get started. Hello, Virgo. Welcome to your May 2024 tarot card reading. Let's go ahead and jump right in with an oracle card. What is it that Virgo needs to know for May 2024? Confessions. Okay, this came out for another zodiac sign as well. And what I really like about this is the sense of relief and release that happens. And with Mars coming into your 8th house now, okay, we had tons of 8th house activity last month in Aries season, but we're still not quite out of the woods yet. We still got your ruling planet in there. Now Mercury is officially moving direct. It's going to start speeding up, which is great. We also have Mars coming in. And whenever we have this 8th house activation like this, it really is a time for us to metamorphosize, right? We get to alter and change, and we get to have a little bit of a death rebirth experience. And while there is a lot of focus on material things in this house, like things like money and resources and whatnot, there is still kind of this deeper underlying thing that goes on more in our unconscious realms, in our underworld. And I think this card really is about letting things out of your physical body, whether it's through telling someone something or writing something down in your journal or just being alone and letting the emotions out, right? It's really about acknowledging. I'm kind of like really looking at this dark smoke that's like coming out of her stomach. It's like, you know, there's a toxicity or there's a poison or there's an emotion or there's something that's like lodged in that may have been creating some issues. Now, it may take a little bit of soul seeking to really figure out kind of what that is. I don't know that it has to be all this really dark, dank, heavy, inner shadow work right now. I think it's more a matter of just sort of sitting with yourself and saying, what's really going on here? What is my real fear? What's my real problem? What's the real issue that is holding me back? And do I want to keep this going or not? Because I think the planets right now are just really pushing us into this new era, and while we may not have all the clarity in the world, that's okay, but we are getting pushed into this new era. And I think it's really it's just a great time. Well, now I just keep repeating myself, to just release, okay? And it may come a little bit more naturally than you realize, this release, because it feels like you're absolutely ready. And I think when we're ready, things can happen a little bit more organically without us being like, okay, do it. When we're trying to force our body to do something or force our mind to do something, it just happens more with a sense of ease and a sense of just like, it just goes away, So let's see, I have a question. I'm doing questions this month. What am I grateful for right now? Okay, that's kind of in a stark contrast. This is more about release, where this is more about looking at what is around you and just expressing this gratitude. And it says, adopt an abundance mindset. Gratitude is the antidote to all our problems. Well, maybe not all our problems, but it's a good antidote for a lot of things. And it's impossible to be fearful and grateful at the same time. Gratitude improves our health, opens our heart, and changes our state. So this really is like the fear being released, or the negative emotion being released. And when you do this, you are going to more naturally tap into a higher abundance mindset, a higher frequency, just a kind of a generalized higher state, which makes acquiring things, which is really what Taurus is all about, especially for you in the 9th house. This is a really auspicious house. There's a lot of positive stuff that gets to come through here. So we want to make sure that we are open to receive that stuff. So this feels like two scales, right? The scales of justice kind of thing, kind of adjusting and finding a balance where this gets released, and then you start to open yourself up to more abundance, which is absolutely fantastic. So Virgo, what else do we need to know here with the tarot cards? Okay. Now, while this is going on, I still don't see you being any less selective with things, okay? And I see really strong boundaries with you, which is fantastic as well. Always boundaries are good because we don't want just anything and anyone coming into our world, okay? Because when we are trying to make these transitions and we're trying to take our changes seriously and we're trying to kind of embrace a new aspect of life or a new aspect of ourselves and our identity, we don't want things that are going to come hurling in like this Knight of Swords and create and wreak all sorts of havoc, okay? Because the Knight of Swords can be both, this came out through with another tarot, with another reading as well. And I'm kind of seeing the same thing for you. And what that is that this is both good and bad. It's bad because it's obnoxious, and it may be a person, it may be a circumstance in your life that just keeps nipping at your heels and just keeps going. And it's just like this thing that you feel like you can't get away from. And it's constantly yelling at you. It's constantly in the back of your mind. And it might create a lot of anxiety or stress. Maybe it's a money issue. Maybe it's a relationship problem. Maybe it's you really just don't like your job, whatever the case is. And it's just like you can't get away from it. However, in the way that that's a good thing is that this is going to pressure you into actually making the changes that you claim you want to make. But I don't see you moving quickly necessarily with your changes. I think Virgo, in typical Virgo fashion, wants to do it the right way the first time. You want to do it in a way where you're going to succeed, and you're not going to do just anything to get away from this. This feels like discernment to me, the Four of Cups. It feels like you feel this and you acknowledge this, although I do think you're keeping your distance pretty good from this. And what this really feels like is a block, right? But not a negative one. It feels like you are detaching and saying, okay, this is nipping at my heels. This is bothersome. This is a problem, and I need to find a solution to this. But let me think about the best possible solution, the best possible route, and let me calibrate. Let me just kind of assess and regroup and think about this, and let me see what my options are. Let me analyze my options. Let me look at what is available to me, what I'm capable of doing. How can I leverage my resources right now? How can I leverage my talents and my skills? How can I leverage what I have to get myself to the next place, to the next phase, so that this is no longer like breathing down my neck? Okay, so I don't know that you tackle the problem, right? I think the more and more you give energy and attention to this Knight of Swords, the further away you're going to get from the solution. You don't want to feed the Knight of Swords. You can acknowledge it and understand its role, but you don't want to feed it. A lot of people might try to fight this. This creates the resistance, okay? And this might be really connected with this toxic smoke that's coming out of you in this card. right? Because this may have been a culmination of choices and decisions that you made from a negative place, from a place of fear, from a place of survival or lack or scarcity or desperation, right? So you made certain decisions and you put yourself in certain scenarios rooted in that kind of stuff. So this has a lot of momentum. And you can't just stop a boulder from rolling down a hill. Like, you kind of have to let it slow down on its own. You can't stand in front of it and try to get it to stop. You just have to get out of the way. So this is you getting out of the way and saying, I'm going to let this keep breathing down my neck for now. As annoying and frustrating and uncomfortable as it may be, I'm going to let it do that. But I am going to really sit down and think about what I need to do. Because see, when we are in an earth season, and I say this to everyone all the time, okay, earth seasons are the times to take action, because we are in the earth, we are in the world, we're in the physical environment, and we want to take physical action during this time. Okay, we get fueled in fire, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, and then we act in earth, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Okay. So this is what action you're taking, which is not much at all, but it is still very active nonetheless, because the assessment of your options, the assessment of your choices and what's available to you is what's going to help you to decide which direction to take. Okay. So let's see what comes out. Yeah. That's the stress and the anxiety, no doubt. Wheel of Fortune. Oh my gosh, very center of the reading. I absolutely love that. Okay. Because the Wheel of Fortune, regardless of whether it's upright or reversed, it's a wheel. So it doesn't really matter. There's no really directionality there. So, I mean, it means that wheel is turning. So this circumstance is 100% not permanent. It's 100% not going to be like this lifelong thing, okay? Especially if you actually start taking it seriously and start making the revisions that you need to make. The Wheel of Fortunes indicates, when it's reversed, I kind of see like maybe you're at a down point and you're making your way back up. I see that really a lot. And it may not feel like the wheel is turning. It may not feel like things are not improving or something, and that's what's really causing this. But see, again, even these first two, for some reason, these first two cards came out so strong for me. They're not even major arcana, but yet they came out with a punch. And we'll see what the clarifiers have to say about them. But I really think that this detachment up here and this kind of wall that you put up is really important. Because like I said, you can't just snap your fingers and make this stuff go away. This is a culmination. I mean, we've got a lot of black going on here. So this has absorbed a lot of light. And it absorbs a lot of your light and a lot of your energy and a lot of your creativity and your passion. And it just sort of sucks it down. And it probably is rooted in a negative emotion. That's why, what am I grateful for right now? We want to get you into a really positive, high perspective, kind of like it all happened for the best type of mentality. And even if you feel like you're kind of psyching yourself out by doing that, the perspective shift is really, really important. And understanding the role of the hardship or understanding the role of the problem in your future growth. Everything happens in cycles. There's always compression and there's always expansion. With Taurus season, Venus coming into Taurus, there's expansion available to you. When Jupiter hits Gemini at the end of the month on the 25th, during Gemini season, okay, and plus we've got the full moon in Sagittarius, all right, so we're going to have a lot of this more expansive energy once we hit, you're kind of already experiencing it with the 9th house stuff, but even on into Gemini season, there's going to be much more expansion for you. So this kind of stuff that has culminated and ruminated and this stress and anxiety and insomnia and this I can't stop thinking about stuff, it has a role and it does have a purpose. So shifting your perspective to seeing the purpose in that, because this is what gets us to act. This is what kind of pushes on the pain in order to get you to move. Now, we had a really intense Aries season. Like I say, for you, it was 8th house. So there was a lot of heavy stuff that happened for Virgo in April. And it was all conjunct Chiron, right? We got that eclipse conjunct Chiron. So it really probably felt like you were putting pressure on a wound. It probably did not feel good. So this month, it's like, okay, well, what are you going to do about it? And in an earth season like Taurus, we do step more into that more practical mindset. This is not an emotional experience necessarily. This is more about like just acknowledging, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling, and based on what I have, based on my resources, these are the things that I actually can do. And then you start doing them in little bite-sized pieces, because we don't have to do it all in one day, not with the Wheel of Fortune. I always say the Wheel of Fortune is incremental. It's like one little notch at a time. It's rarely, unless it comes out with the Tower or like a Judgment or an Ace of Swords or something, rarely is it an all at once type of deal. It's usually a step by step by step by step type of thing. And it's a slow integration. And there's a accumulation that has to happen. So there's no time pressure here, but there's emotional and spiritual pressure, because it's really hard to be in this dark place. And I'm not saying you've been all depressed or whatever, but it's hard to have that heaviness on your shoulders. And it's hard to have this nipping at your heels and nagging at you and constantly, like I say, breathing down your neck. And this is what needs to be uprooted, right? The Four of Wands. You need to pull the rug out from under this Knight of Swords. But you cannot do that by standing in front of it and trying to stop it. You just have to let it roll to a stop on its own by starting to focus on new and better and more productive things. That's why gratitude is so important, because if you have that more abundant mindset, you will be more capable of seeing different opportunities. When we're in this place, we have really tunneled vision and we think there's only one way out and we can only do it one way. 9th house energy is not one way fits all. 9th house energy is there are multiple streams, multiple avenues, multiple channels through which you could go and still get to your destination. Okay, so we don't want to lock ourselves in a box, because that's probably how we got to where we got to in the first place. So meditation probably is going to be really, really healthy. I mean, it's healthy anyway, but there are certain moments when just shutting down the mind, and even like, how we always have our most profound thoughts, like in the shower or when you're in the car or something. Like if you're in the car and you're one of those people that talks to themselves, like that's what I do. I like to brainstorm and just make little voice notes and stuff to myself, because my mind just works differently in the car. It works differently in the shower. And so maybe do something with that, because sometimes we just have the most profound thoughts and the profound ideas in the most strange places. And sometimes we could get a really special download that we could use. Because sometimes when we step out of that environment, it's like business as usual. So our brain kicks into like that normal pattern. But we're trying to pull the rug out from under the Knight of Swords. So we have to be a little bit more conscious of what our mind is doing, what our intuition is doing, what our soul is really saying to us. Okay? So let's see. Let's move these up here a little bit. A couple more cards for Virgo. Beautiful. Okay, so we only got one major arcana in this whole reading, and it's in the very center of the spread, right? The Wheel of Fortune. So that means that this is the heavy hitter for the most part of the reading, which says you are on this wheel is turning over, this down point is coming to an end, and that things are going to start to change. Now, I said this is not necessarily, and even though you're going to be thinking about stuff, this is not the most high-minded intellectual type of stuff, okay? This is not existential. This is not transcendental. It's not like some huge, big thing, okay? This is really practical, real life type of thought. Everyday life, mundane, routine, choices, chances, figuring out like, okay, what can I do today? What tasks need to be done in order to accomplish this goal? Okay, it's really healthy, lower mind type of stuff. And we can tap into that, and that can be so like beneficial for us to kind of get out of the clouds a little bit into our bodies, into the world, and just be real, okay? But it's also a deeply emotional experience as well, as we see with the confessions and the release. And I feel like the release of this emotional stuff is also going to be extremely purifying. It's kind of like cleaning the soul, cleansing the body. It just kind of cleans everything out, and you're going to access a greater flow, because this is the opposite of flow. This is complete and utter stagnation and resistance and all this, and this is a painful place to be. So we're trying to get to this more fluid flow state, to the point where you can hear what it is your heart is trying to say, what it is your intuition is trying to say, what it is your soul is really trying to say to you about where you're at and where you ultimately are wanting to go. Because the dreams that you have, the manifestations that you're hoping to actualize, they're not for nothing, right? I'm a genuine believer that our souls have certain ambitions and lessons that we want to learn while we're here, and those things require us to engage with them. And the less and less we engage, the more unhappy we become. So this is a moment of commitment to engage with your soul's desires. And those soul's desires can be materialistic. It can be, I want to experience money. It's Taurus season. We've got Venus in Taurus. Please, by all means, think about your resources. By all means, think about your lifestyle. Think about luxury things. Think about the things that you want to have, because those are experiences that your soul might want to have. You want to fly private, right? Maybe that's an experience your soul wants to have in this lifetime, right? So maybe you think about, how do you enhance your business or whatever, okay? So you can think about material stuff. It doesn't have to all be so, spiritual all the time. And I feel like by opening yourself up to possibility, that flow is going to come so much more naturally, so much more organically. You don't have to fight for the flow, right? That's like the complete opposite of what the flow even is. We're not supposed to fight for flow. And with the Page of Coins, again, that reminder, the increments. This is step by step. You're in a learning place right now, because we've learned how to get ourselves into this pressure cooker. We learned how to get ourselves to this place of tension. And now we got to kind of unlearn that behavior, unlearn that way of making choices, that way of ignoring our gut, okay? We have to unlearn that and relearn how to make better and healthier choices for us. And sometimes it's a little trial and error, but this is one of my students. I often call him one of my students, or my apprentice, because he is learning, and he's learning from the master, which is also you, your higher self. Okay, you're learning from your higher self. You're receiving the lessons, and to receive, you have to be in this abundant kind of mindset. Okay, so this is why the perspective shift is so important. So you're receiving guidance from your higher self, and you are taking it day by day, and that's important, just day by day. We are in the beginning part of the zodiac, okay? We're not in like Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces anymore. We're in Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. So we can take these little baby steps. We can think of ourselves as little infants, little beginning, especially with Mars and Aries. Okay, we're just kind of learning how to walk again at this point. And embracing that, because it takes the pressure off. And I think taking pressure off where you can is ideal. Take the pressure off, take the time pressure off. This is a conversation I'm having with a lot of signs too. Saturn is in Pisces right now. Saturn is the ruler of time. Saturn in Pisces is a very wonky type of deal. Because it's in Pisces, it is opposite of you. So your relationship with time is actually quite interesting right now because of that. And I say interesting because it probably feels like you have to master things quickly, right away. You might be putting a lot of pressure on yourself to do that. But really, Saturn in Pisces is like, don't worry about the time. Time is completely an illusion. Time is completely false. You do not have to limit yourself in any time frame whatsoever. So taking that responsibility off your shoulders might help a lot and actually may speed up the process. Like I would never, okay, also, something you should know, Pluto is officially stationing retrograde at the very beginning of May on the 2nd. Okay, so when Pluto stations retrograde, that means he is heading back to Capricorn for the last time ever in your lifetime. Thank goodness. But I do sense that there is this undertone of fear a little bit of slipping backwards because of that. That there's this like really delicate towing the line of like, am I going to embrace my future or am I going to fall back into my old ways? And one of the things is that you might have some recurring stuff that happens later in the year, especially September, October, November, where some stuff comes back up. And you may be like, oh my gosh, I thought I was done with this. Well, then I quit. And there could be a really big, like, I quit moment in that time, which we don't want to do because what we're initiating now is going to be so wonderful and beautiful. And this takes time. The Wheel of Fortune takes time. So we don't want to start building momentum with this and then get out of the way of this later just because something goes wrong or we feel like we're not progressing or we have a regression of some kind. So we want to be aware of that's coming up. So if you sit here and say, well, if it doesn't happen in the next 6 months, then I'm not going to do it, you are completely shooting yourself in the foot. So we don't want to do it that way. So take time out of the equation and just really focus on today. Because with the 10 of coins, this is what is feasible for you. This is what's connected here with the Wheel of Fortune. And this is, I think, really what you're thinking about. How do I get to the 10 of coins? How do I get to this incredibly abundant place where life feels at ease? Where I feel a sense of relief and comfort that I haven't known under the influence of this pressure cooker thing here. Okay, so the 10 of coins is the ultimate goal. And I think you're exactly on the right track. You're doing what you need to do. I don't know that I can sit here and make all these suggestions in terms of how to change your behavior because I think you're doing a really great job. But I just also want you to know that like this is a work in progress, right? And that these results are going to come slowly in time as you start to really change these behaviors. And I think it's really something to look forward to and hopefully is motivating enough that you keep things somewhat consistent. And I know consistency can be hard for a Mercury ruled sign. I'm a Virgo too, so like I get it. The consistency can be a little bit rough for people who tend to fluctuate and come and go and, but you have to understand your own rhythm. You have to understand what works for you and understand your personal cycles. And maybe you ignored a lot of your personal cycles and that's why this whole thing is happening. Okay, so you're learning a lot about yourself during this process too, and learning what makes you a successful person because your blueprint is going to be different from everybody else. Okay, it's going to be different from everybody else. You can't follow another person's blueprint for your success. Okay, but this is the ultimate, and I think this is the inevitable. The 10 of coins is an inevitability for you, Virgo. So long as you don't run and hide from what is required of you spiritually right now. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and pull out the clarifiers. So I'm going to pull out a whole bunch of more cards. And we're going to talk about these in the comprehensive reading. So if you want to join me, you are absolutely more than welcome. The links for all of that are found in the description box in the comment thread down below. So please join us. It's super, super fun over there. We get really in deep. So let's take a look at the 4 of Cups. Okay. 2 of Wands, 5 of Wands. That one came out so hard for me. Yeah, okay, well, exactly. There's a major arcana. Ace of Wands. Oh, I love the aces. I'm loving that for this season. And the page. Yeah, okay. Not surprising. Yep. For some reason, I feel like this has to do with your creativity and your belief in yourself. That problems arose because you didn't believe in yourself. Even though you know you should, right? It's like, I should believe in myself, but I just don't for some reason. Or I should know that I'm capable, but I'm not doing it for some reason. Okay, maybe some issues with belief in that Wheel of Fortune a little bit. All right, and Two of Coins, High Priestess, the Magician. Definitely heart over mind. Ten of Swords reverse, King of Swords. Page of Swords. Okay, so this is where we're going to pick up, Virgo. So if you want to join, you are welcome. Thank you again so much. Have an amazing month, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.